So it looks like the talking point for this week is that President Obama is running a campaign based on fear. That instead of talking about hope and change, this time President Obama is running a negative campaign where all he does is try to make people get scared of Mitt Romney. And I don't know if that's true, I don't know if that's fair, but I do know that I am very afraid of Mitt Romney. I think America needs to get more afraid of Mitt Romney. And what really frightens me about him is that Mitt Romney is so insincere and artificial and bland and boring that instinctively it's hard to be afraid of him, even when he's surrounding himself with radical, scary people and promoting radical, scary ideas. Mitt Romney's greatest strength is that he's incapable of making a strong impression. Whether you're for him or against him, intuitively the strongest thing you can ever feel about him is meh. If meh was an option in opinion polls, his approval rating would be like 98% meh. And because of that meh energy that Romney exudes from his core, it's easy for middle-of-the-road moderate voters to see him promoting right-wing ideas that they're totally opposed to, and instead of getting scared, they just say, meh, whatever, he probably doesn't even mean what he's saying, I can still vote for him. Romney's greatest asset is that he has no personality and no real opinions, so no matter what he says, instinctively, it's just hard to get afraid of somebody who seems like they barely exist. But the thing about somebody like that is, if you put someone in the White House who's just a blank slate and has no deeply held beliefs, but he brings a team of people with him who do have deeply held, scary beliefs, he's not gonna have a bland, blank slate, meh presidency. He will have a scary presidency that's defined by the scary people behind him filling in his blank slate and promoting their scary agenda. For you to really understand Mitt Romney, you have to watch this old Woody Allen movie named Zelig. Zelig is about this nondescript, ordinary guy who has no personality of his own, but he wants people to like him so badly that he physically mutates into a copy of whoever he's hanging out with. Like if he's hanging out with rich British aristocrats, he morphs into one of them and starts speaking with their accent. If he's hanging out with Italian mobsters in Chicago, he physically morphs into one of them and starts talking like them. Whoever he's hanging out with, he morphs into a clone of them because he wants everybody to like him so badly. And that has been Mitt Romney's whole career. He is the Zelig candidate. When he moved to Massachusetts, he morphed like Zelig into a moderate. Now that he's running for president, he morphed like Zelig into a severe conservative. He's the Zelig candidate. And if you put him in the White House, he's gonna morph into a clone of whoever's standing next to him in the White House. So when you look at Mitt Romney, the only real question to ask is who's gonna be standing next to him. And we're far enough along now that we can make some guesses about that. A bunch of people, including Colin Powell, have been trying to warn us that so far Mitt Romney is surrounding himself with some of the worst radical right-wing fringe elements of the Bush-Cheney, emphasis on Cheney administration. He's been putting a bunch of Cheney people into his entourage and even making speeches where he calls Dick Cheney someone with sound judgment who would be a good president. It is alarmingly probable that if you put Mitt Romney in the White House, he's going to be standing next to a bunch of Dick Cheney people and he will mutate like Zelig into a clone of the Dick Cheney people. And I think we can all agree that a mutated clone of Dick Cheney is pretty easy to be scared of. So I don't know if President Obama's really gonna run a campaign of fear, but I, Jay Smooth, am coming to you today with a message of fear. Because even though you may look at Mitt Romney and see a pathetic but essentially harmless Woody Allen character from back before Woody Allen got all creepy, in Mitt Romney's remake of Zelig, Zelig is out for blood. He's gonna eat your brains. Mitt Romney's remake of Zelig could very easily be a horror movie where the White House is invaded by the Dick Cheney clone army. If you put blank slate, empty suit, no opinion having Mitt Romney into the White House, his presidency will be defined by whoever's standing next to him. And that means whenever you look at Mitt Romney, you need to picture the ghastly visage of Dick Cheney lurking behind him and be afraid. Be very afraid.